Just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. On Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Ho, ho, ho. Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 101 days until Christmas 2023. You've only got one more day before we get down into the double digits. So you guys start your Christmas shopping now. But in all seriousness, it's Friday. And Friday means we're going to talk about some Star Wars news of the week. And we've got all kinds of things to talk about. And so I'm going to bring Jason in, and then we're going to talk about some other things. Hey, Jason, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm sharing your show.
Oh, good. We've done some changes here in this past week.
I'm Santa.
I want to point out a couple of things. And one was on Patreon. Patreon's got a terrible app. It's just not quite right. I had a pinned message on there where people can go in and they can submit questions or
just submit to the power of Santa.
Yes.
Right, Santa? Yeah.
Right.
Down.
And
Sorry.
We've got this Patreon thing, and nobody has been submitting any questions on there. I'm like, come on now. You guys can have this ability to submit questions or ideas or whatever for the show, and nobody's doing anything. And so our friend Ducky Momo, he went in and he pinged me the other day, says, I can't find the daggone thing. Mm-hmm. And I looked and I was like, oh,
Dagnabbit.
I can't find it on my phone either. I could find it on the computer. It was pinned at the very, very top. Right. But then when I went to look at it on my phone, it was gone. Couldn't find it anywhere. And he mentioned, well, you got to scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the page, and it's
what?
Doing that. I know. It's wait, look, ooh, we can move.
Whoa, where did I? You made me fly across the world, time and space on the screen.
Oh my goodness! Hey, look, Ryan Campbell says I ran into Carson Teva at my local McDonald's.
Really? Seriously?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. He's a great guy.
He's all Mon Mothma won't listen to me, but Ronald McDonald will.
Had to come get myself a Big Mac. No, that's awesome.
What was his order? What was it? What was the? Are we gonna have the Carson Teva mill like coming next to the Travis Scott mill?
Yeah, that's what we want to know. Does he like the chicken nuggies? Or is he, what's...
No, he's a man. He doesn't eat chicken nuggies. What are you talking about?
Just saying. You don't know.
I think Teva's Tacos. That makes sense. Taco Bell promotion.
Well, but he's at McDonald's.
I know. We need to have a talk with him on the show. In this space. We need to have a sit down.
So I'm going to show you guys here on
Sketchcraft. Time is a river flowing into nowhere. Felonious D.
He's great. He's great. He gave us one of the best lines ever yesterday.
Yeah.
He talked about Ahsoka went to Purgatory. Purgatory. That's fantastic.
I've been sending him demos. It's inspired a new song. Needs a better chorus, but we're getting there.
No, good. Well, if you look, like again, I mentioned on the web, the pin message is right on top. But if you are on your mobile device, you can't find this pinned message where you can submit live stream questions or topics. But Patreon added a new feature called collections. If you go to collections, you can put things in there like the books. I've got all the chapters for treason, for Thrawn alliances, for the Darth Plagueis novel. All of that's right there. But I also added this pinned messages. So you can go straight to the collections, go to pinned messages. In there, you'll see there's about 4 messages. Makes it real easy. We've got the live stream questions. We'll talk about Broom Boy here in a second. Then the Spotify link is there.
Broom Boy now works at McDonald's, ironically. Sleeping up.
And there's the mail correspondence where you can send things to me that you'd like to maybe donate the toys for tots, or you'd like to shoot my way. You can do that there. And then I've got this example of my Santa Claus channel. And what I do is Santa, and we'll be posting how to schedule virtual visits here relatively soon. But
it's like, and the elf said, "Let me out, Santa." And Santa said, "No."
That was Bespin. You were hearing Bespin in your basement.
Okay, he was talking to you, wasn't he? He's all read the whole article. Read the whole article and let me out.
Why do you always skip the best part?
You're always skipping my important parts. Yeah.
So Ducky Momo asked this question. This is how you can get your question on the show without having to pay like a super chat.
Mm-hmm.
You can just join Patreon for just $1 a month. That's cheaper than super chatting, and you could chat you can submit all kinds of these things. And he put on here, these are, I'm taking a huge risk because I haven't read this before.
Yeah.
So we'll read it together. He said, somehow Broom Boy has returned. The Adventures of Broom Boy. It goes back. Ducky's been submitting these for a while.
J6 was an inside job. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know about this one, dude.
He said, Broom Boy's returned, and boy, is he riled up. He accepted he was too old to be trained as a Jedi. Don't want Vader Part 2. But now he learned some old hag named Sabine is a Padawan. Oh, what the heck? He can move stuff with the Force without any training. And she spent years learning how not to move a cup. He has mastered the broom swing, and brooms are way more lethal than lightsabers. Well, I suppose if you got impaled on a broomstick, it has a potential to be lethal, right? A lightsaber stab's nothing compared to the bleed damage from splinters you get from a broom stab. Not to mention the infection from stall filth. So says in his disgust, Broom Boy decides not to leave little Jason's future up to fate. Knowing the boy wants to learn, Broom Boy knocks out Huyang, right, with broom swing to the back of the head and escapes with Jason in tow. Broom Boy will now find the best master available to train him. Taking Jason's age and skill set into account, and knowing that Kylo will be a bad influence if Jason goes to Luke, why do you feel would be, or what? Who do you feel would be the best option left in order to guide Jason in the ways of the Force, and why? There you go. So, who? All that to say, who should train Jason Syndulla? We know that he's Force sensitive, and he wants to be a Jedi. Who should train him?
Yeah, it should be Ezra. I mean, that's like the good symmetry, right?
Yeah, Ezra would be like his godfather anyway, right?
Yeah,
uncle, something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you could do the whole, you could put a lot on in terms of like the attachment issues in Star Wars that you have to deal with and stuff. Like we were talking about on my show the other day. The thing about the whole attachment issue, like with Anakin, is it goes bad because Anakin's only like 9 or 8 when he leaves his mom, and like children need to be more like 11 before they are separated from their mother without the attachment issues. And so I'm curious if but modern Star Wars just takes it as all attachments are bad. They kind of like they hardline it a bit from like where Lucas was taking that more or less. But So in that way right there, though, you could sort of make it where because of the father thing and of him having known his father, Kanan, stuff like that, the kid's going to probably have Luke Skywalker daddy issues, not having the father, where he's idolized him and put him up onto the pedestal kind of thing. And but we know that the narrative in Rebels doesn't necessarily knock him down. Like, he's not going to find out his dad's alive and a deadbeat Sith Lord. Like, that's not going to happen to him.
Right.
But that would make it where all of that would be that kind of psychology could be transferred over to Ezra, and then Ezra could set him straight on the street. You know,
his dad trained Ezra, Ezra trained him.
Yeah, symmetry.
To me, that makes a lot of sense to do it that way.
Yeah,
I could see maybe Ahsoka doing it, but we'll get into some spoilers here.
That episode, like we joked, it could be a red Hera, but they do literally go from like, I'm not a teacher, and then they go right to Jason from there.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, in doing so, that narrative wants us to believe that Ahsoka will be training that kid.
Give me just a second, Jason. Yeah. I'll be right back. I got a message here.
Yeah, I'll keep going.
Thanks.
So it sets it up where it goes right to a Jason from that moment, right? But Sabine is clearly going to meet new Ahsoka, different than old Ahsoka, and old Ahsoka was more like Kenobi, where she's sort of berating you all the time, not believing in you, and that, of course, is what opens up Palpatine being able to manipulate Anakin. Well, in this instance right here, you kind of have a similar kind of thing. It was still a manipulation. It was like, you can help your friend. You got to come now. You got to make a choice right now. And then she does, and it's obviously the wrong one. She endangers the whole galaxy. Now war is going to come because of her selfishness and all that. Had she had a better master and relationship with Ahsoka, never would have went there. So Sabine's choice is Sabine's fault. Her character will have to deal with that going forward. But Sabine's failure is also Ahsoka's failure. Because if Ahsoka was a better teacher, had embraced her role and all that kind of stuff, then Sabine never makes the wrong choice. Sabine is a better pupil. So anyways, point being, we have something coming in the future for Sabine, and either she meets new Ahsoka and they both go like, you know what, this is what you are. You're a Jedi with the Mandalorian past, and we're going to move forward with that. Or you're a Mandalorian. We should never have tried to make you something that you're not. Because that's kind of what I think the story could be too. In fact, I think it's kind of leaning more towards that at this point. And after 6 episodes or 5 episodes, and only 4 with Sabine, the 4 episodes are leaning towards that's not who she is. We have a kid sensing people in the oceans, and this lady can't move a cup. But when she's a Mandalorian, she's highly effective and a hero. So, that's... I don't know why you would push, why you would try to make somebody into something that they're not when she's already doing good. So,
yeah, very good. Sorry about that.
Your mic got a little distorted just a bit. I don't know if you got close or something.
Am I back? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're okay. You're sounding a little 90s grunge, but
sorry.
Let
me see if I can fix it. But let's see. My brain is off because I got this message and I'm trying to deal with it. And it has to do with legal matters and signing documents and whatnot.
Elves wanting. Why should we have to work for you for eternity just because you summoned us with magic? Why?
So I've turned the mic down. Hopefully that helps. Is it any better or still hot?
It sounds good. It sounds good to me. As long as people can hear you correctly, like on a good volume. Roland says back to normal. I only trust Roland. I don't trust Sam, KG, Thronkill. Those guys, they'll all trick you. Roland's a straight shooter.
Yeah. So, Santa NDA. Yeah, that's it could be that. Let's
Christmas NDA.
I've got a bunch of articles here from. So anyway, all that. And look, if you guys would like to support the channel as a patron, you can find in the collections this patron only live stream questions. Then you can do like Ducky did and submit a ridiculously long question in there that we'll do on the show, as long as it's a little bit appropriate, right? If it doesn't go off the rails too far, we'll
and to wrap it up, sorry, because I didn't get to the end of it. That kid belongs in Quidditch. Get out of here. You don't belong here. You're Broom Boy. You belong in Harry Potter.
So Bespin is a great place to go for your Star Wars news.
Mm-hmm.
He collects stuff from all kinds of different places and posted it on his website. Mm-hmm. You can kind of just follow along there, and every now and then he puts out exclusives, or he shares some exclusives from Jason as well. So you can get your Making Star Wars, your Bespin Bulletin, your Direct, all those kind of things right there on the Bespin Bulletin and on the interwebs. So I just back up to the I think this is the first like one to talk about a little bit is this Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. The game director has left Respawn. This guy named Stig Asmussen. Stig has left.
Just go with Stig. It's a difficult last name for me, anyways.
Well, it's got a little. It depends on your pronunciation. It could go sideways on you. But so Stig, he was a game director for those Jedi titles. He's left, but they said it says Bloomberg broke that he has left Respawn after careful consideration to pursue new endeavors. That's what they always say. After careful consideration, he's decided he'd like to take his career in a different direction. He's going to take his talents to L.A. I don't
basket weaving.
Right. So it says at this time, EA, the parent company of Respawn, have commented on the game director's exit, or they have commented, but he himself has yet to share any comments publicly. EA shared the following: after careful thought and consideration, again, this means nothing. All right, that means nothing. When anybody leaves any company for any reason, it's always couched this way. We told them we were going to fire them or they could quit. And after careful consideration, they decided to go. Right? Hey, there's Bespin in the chat. Bespin, feel free to join us if you like. He says, my long-running theory was Ezra would train Jason. I've said it pre-Ahsoka airing. Oh, so he's putting the flag in the ground saying, I said it before Jason said it.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. It's lies. He wants to come on and defend himself, he can, because it's your show. I personally wouldn't allow it, but...
So Stig decided to leave and pursue other adventures. And we wish him the best of luck. Veteran, and this is the key, I think. Veteran Respawn leaders will be stepping up to guide the team as they continue to work on Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
It'd be cool if he responded. I didn't even think about it at all, or even consider. I just don't want to work for you anymore. Like,
right.
That's his response.
That's what I mean. Like, it could very well be like they told me to go pound sand and I left. Right? Like it could be, but they always try to couch it in these really nice terms. But it's like after careful consideration. So then Bespin adds his comments here. Says it's unclear whether his new adventure, what it will be, and why he decided to leave. He's been out for nearly 10 years. He was the mastermind behind the Jedi games, acting as game director of both, writing both titles, in addition to envisioning the Jedi franchise and story of Cal Kestis as a trilogy. So we know that it's unfinished story, right? If he envisioned it as a trilogy, he's been writing it as a trilogy. Finish the first two. Before you get to finish your trilogy, you exit. I suspect there might be more to the story than we know, right? He says, as at this time, a third entry has not been announced, but everybody assumes, right, that they had started working on it.
Jeff Grubb, come on, man! You gotta. What is this? Star Wars Thor's channel? We don't cite people now. That's Jeff Grubb. You gotta give Grubb the call out.
I get locked in the basement and get no credit. Please help him stop this monster.
No.
Jason, I've told you before, you need to let Bespin out to get a little sunlight. And
look, Jeff, we'll credit Jeff Grubb. This guy,
not going to do it. In addition to Grubb's comments, we've also seen hints at development on a third Jedi game, thanks to various job listings. One listing for a senior combat designer appears to be for the Jedi game. And most of the listings require applicants to have experience with Unreal Engine 4, although UE5 is out. So UE4 is what they're using. The engine Survivor was made with. Oh, there it is. And Unreal Engine 5. I should keep reading. Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes more information comes.
Right.
Like in the next line, it's weird. It's just weird.
It's weird that way. Yeah. It says, the latter being the engine Stig previously revealed be used for the third release. It's worth noting the untitled first person shooter game they're working on has these requirements. The line that stands out that's for the sequel passion is, the Survivor sequel is a passion for melee combat games is a major plus. And then in addition to the listing on EA's website, LinkedIn, there's these job postings.
A passion for gladiator films.
Yeah. It says, granted, a principal writer for the project could be for another game, right? Not simply a sequel. But what Grubb has shared, and from what I've heard personally, the Survivor sequel is currently in extremely early development.
Okay, stop right there. I have heard that a Survivor sequel is in extremely early development. So you heard it here, guys. You heard it here first.
Jason Ward exclusive.
You know,
right there.
Yeah, you guys heard it here first. I mean, what do you want me to say? Oh, so what did Bespin say? Oh, a Survivor sequel? Oh, yeah, I've heard that before too. Cool.
I'm pretty sure he heard it from you. Yeah, when he says, from what I've heard, he said it right there. I've heard personally. Well, yeah.
He wears the same outfit as me and says like it was his idea.
Does he give credit to Jason Ward for having? No, absolutely not. Right.
I'm Madonna. You're desperately seeking Susan. Accept it. That was way too old of a reference for anybody on the show.
Bob said we left Bespin out of the basement. He wasn't built for it.
That's what I told you. I can hear him on the walls running around. He's mad right now, knocking on stuff.
He's probably furiously trying to get onto the show.
Biting the head off a rat down between the walls. It's crazy.
Don't start that rumor. Reddit will believe it. That's true. That's true.
Somebody in my chat was like, "Could we see Rex in the indoor scenes?" I'm all, "Hey, anything's possible." Right?
Yeah.
But somebody on Reddit's all, "Jason says we might see the indoor scenes." I'm like, "No, I didn't say that. I just said like anything's possible." You know, I mean, like, come on.
As one line in EA statement that's likely caught fans' eye is, veteran Respawn leaders will be stepping up. Says, I'm sure some have taken this as a nod towards noteworthy DLC Survivor. However, that could be a possibility. I'm personally taking the line as work on future patches and for the PlayStation 4, Xbox, right? So the veterans are working on keeping everything running, putting patches in, making sure everything's running smoothly. Mm-hmm. This is undoubtedly Stig's departure from Respawn and his lack of involvement in the third entry is a real blow for fans of Fallen Order and Survivor. It'll be interesting to see who steps up in the wake of his absence, though the third Jedi entry is still likely a handful of years away. Bespin doesn't personally expect to see it till 2027. Together. I wish him all the best in his new adventure. Can't wait to see what the next step is.
I know. So, he's a quitter.
Toxic work environment. Who knows, right?
It's probably just burned out probably been working on that stuff for almost 10 years. I mean, in totality, like It's probably like around 5 years for each of those games, maybe like in the big long run. Probably it's like, doesn't want to do it for another 5 years. Probably is burned out, but
that could
who
be.
knows? I don't know. I don't know anything about the game industry or that guy, so I'm just throwing it out there though.
Yeah.
What it might be.
Bespin says somebody on your channel asked if you had heard Skeleton Crew was delayed to 2024 when I was on, and going over the article. Yeah, we had heard it was delayed. That's a report that you and Bespin both have shared.
Well, that was him, but that's what he's saying is he came on your thing. We're like reading the article, and then somebody's like, hey, "You heard that?" It's like literally it. But
yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So, it is interesting because these, as I said earlier, these are conceived as a trilogy. The story should continue, and how much continuity will there be if the director is no longer associated, especially since he was a contributor to the writing of, right?
Yeah.
So it's
maybe they didn't want his story. Maybe his story ideas were getting too much pushback. He's like, you know what? All right, it's not gonna come out in any way that I'm just gonna go do something else. Bye.
Yeah, I'm not adding any value here. So I'm out.
You're not letting me. Yeah, kind of. I mean, that I think that's if it wasn't burnout, that would make the most sense.
Gotcha. And again, that's still all speculation. We don't know.
We don't know anything.
We don't know the guy. We've not talked to him. So who knows?
I don't follow games because I'm playing a game called Life. You know what I'm saying? You guys feel me? You guys keeping it real like me right now? Cool.
Real Ben says, so since video games include writing, they're not allowed to work on the game. Oh, that's a good question. As a writer or a video game writer is different.
It's the struck companies that you can't write for. So I don't know how it would work, for instance, if you were writing a game for like WB's game division or whatever, but from what I understand, it's like the struck film companies themselves. So you can write on Bespin says you can write on games. So like that stuff is fine. But you couldn't write on, Batman or whatever for WB at the struck studio. So that's the whole thing. That's like the thing like Drew Barrymore was trying to play with the other day. Like, oh, I'm gonna do my stuff, but I'm not gonna promote this and so on. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
Gotcha. Yeah. So. And I had heard earlier that like when the strike first started, that it wasn't going to affect things like animated works or video games or other things. It's specific to the film studio itself. And these.
Yeah, they're trying to get a strike going for games, and they probably deserve it more than the film people in a way. Not to make it, as if somebody deserves. I guess I shouldn't have said it that way, but yeah, it could happen though. It could go that way. Now is the time. If you were ever going to do anything, this is the visual effects people, so on. This is your moment. This is when everything's held up, so they kind of got them by the gonads.
Look, auto workers are joining the fun. Mm-hmm. Right, started today here in the States. The big three automakers here are greenlit the strike to start last night, and they're starting kind of small. They're saying we're going to pick one production facility for each of these companies, and then we'll see if that gets their attention, and we'll go to 2, 3, 17, whatever. So Bespin says it's more complicated when it comes to actors and games, animated projects. The lead of Outlaws isn't allowed to promote the game. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting because what I've seen on a lot of things is it relates to the strike. And I've been trying to just keep attention to the strike by keeping the count on all my streams. What day we're in, or like 137 today. Mm-hmm. But and I've seen on other content creators where they're saying support these actors, writers that are on strike. And there's been some controversy over should we cover the shows since they're on strike. But from the actors themselves and others, they're saying, yeah, support the work we did. we want it to succeed, but then we don't want to. We just can't talk about the work ourselves. But as a content creator, we can still support the strike while still talking about their work.
Yeah.
As long as they're not doing it themselves. So
yeah.
The other story that is relatively short, I think, in discussion is this about Taika Waititi joking he'll never finish his Star Wars script. And I've already seen people talk about it. Look, Taika's tongue in cheek the whole time. He's joking about it the whole time.
He's not, because he can't will let him do it.
But there is some truth to it. That's what makes it funny, right? Like,
it's the epitome of development hell on his thing, and that doesn't always mean it's bad. That something comes out bad, but this is going to define development hell. Well, with a famous person, anyways, with a really big guy.
Waititi likes to let's put it this way: juggle 2 or 3 interests at the same time.
Yeah, he does.
If you know what I'm saying. So it would be no surprise to say that he is in bed with Star Wars and other things. At
Marvel sometimes, yeah.
That's what we mean, right? Like,
That's fair.
I think it's fair. So, Star Wars isn't his primary attention right now, but he's certainly still, flirting with her. It's all good. Should he put his attentions back to Star Wars? Who knows?
No, realistically, without the strike, he would have been done by now, and they just would have rejected his film, and we would have been like, they would have just fired him by now. But they're gonna make him wait 2 years, let him finish the script, and then fire him. So that's how it goes.
Well, that's I think the majority of kind of opinions I've seen is like people are like, okay, fine,
yeah.
So it doesn't happen. Who cares? And I think that's one thing that a lot of us have got to learn, and maybe we've begun figuring it out, is that these announcements on projects and movies are more like pins in the corkboard, right? Like they can move.
What Star Wars fans fundamentally don't understand is the difference between development and something being greenlit. Like when they announced Rian Johnson, that's a development deal. It doesn't mean it's going to be greenlit. It's two different things, just totally two different things. At the end of the day, like the Sean Levy, once again, it's a development thing. It hasn't been greenlit. Nothing's going to be greenlit until like the script is handed over. So until Rian Johnson, like they could go and like, we're going to make a Rian Johnson trilogy, right? If Ryan comes and then he's like, and then the guy's like Batman, but he's really fat, and that's the hero. They're like, no, we're not doing that movie. We're not doing fat Batman. What are you doing? Right? Then it doesn't get greenlit. So with the Ryan stuff, I truly doubt this has happened. There is always a chance Ryan turned over a treatment and they're like, come back after you revise this some more. That could have happened. I doubt it. I doubt that would happen to Rian Johnson, to be honest with you, but it's in the realm of possibility. It's happened to Taika.
Yeah,
I believe it has. I think Taika turned in that script, and it had the structural issues of getting the second act to communicate with the third act, and they were just like, you gotta figure this out.
Yeah. Sam the Sham says, Rian Johnson, want to make another movie someday? He says, sure. Marketing. Rian Johnson's making more Star Wars movies. That's probably true, right? Like Kathleen Kenney's like, hey, would you like to do another one someday? He's like, oh, sure. That sounds great. Oh, he's doing a movie, right? But that's very true. And I saw Real Ben put this aside, but it said Star Wars earned the reputation. Development or greenlit aside. And you see you go back to that announcement Kathleen did with all those logos behind her and all these projects that were in development,
right?
I think is how they said it. Then half of them don't happen, and half of them are still hanging on or here or there, and then she gets asked questions, says, "Oh no, all of them are still on." You're like, "Yeah, on like what? Like,
Crack.
yeah, are they ever going to actually happen?" It's
Yeah.
tough, right? Bespin says most companies wouldn't announce a director writer's working on a project until they're somewhat confident it's going to happen. Right? Lucasfilm just announcing everything, like, "Hey, we've got." Yeah, maybe they've gotten a little bit better at that lately, but it's hard to say. And then, once it's like a dog with a bone, right? So once you give the fans the scent of it, they're like a dog with a bone. They're just chasing after it, and whether it's Ryan or Taika or whatever, they want more, and they want to know the specifics, what's happening.
I want more, and I shouldn't,
right? So, so it's tough. It's tough to know. Yeah, what happened to Droid Story?
Oh, just before I forget, this is just a random. No, this isn't connected to what we're saying, but I've always said Hayden sounds bad as Anakin at times in the prequels when people really hard on him because he's Canadian. And one of the things I notice is he's good in this show, but they let him be Canadian. Listen to when he says about. He straight up says it Canadian style. That is not a USA Anakin. That is a Canadian Anakin.
It's Canadian.
Just throwing that out. Sorry. But yeah, Droid Story.
What happened to Droid Story? We've not heard a thing about it.
Yeah, my theory right now, it's not something I've dug on whenever I've had a chance. I'm not going to waste my precious few moments that I have with sources to be like, what's going on with Droid Story? On that one.
Right.
But ILM X Labs was sort of redefined, and their sort of mission and what they are changed recently. And I am just going to throw it out there that probably in that upheaval and in that redirect of that company, we might have lost it. They might have said we're not doing that.
They lost it. What it's like the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones.
Well,
it's in a crate and it's on a
no. As in they were going to what I think the boundaries of what they develop has changed. I don't remember exactly what it all entailed. And I think that it was more gearing up towards the Apple VR headset style stuff, as opposed to what they were doing. So it seemed like that company was trying to find its tone since it was announced almost. Like what are we going to be? The industry doesn't know what it is yet. VR doesn't, and AR and stuff like that has not really completely been defined yet. It's still developing. We still got a billionaire spending billions trying to make a metaverse that's a joke. And so I don't think anybody really knows what to do with ILM X Labs in a big way. Maybe. I don't know but that's what it feels like. That's what you have ILM X Lab that now have a different name. Can't remember what the name is now. It's a different name now. They made Vader Immortal, which is like the cinematic VR game. Then they go and they make the Galaxy's Edge VR game. That's completely, totally different, like cheaper and feeling across the board, not cinematic at all. And then they're supposed to be developing a Droid Story, which is like this way of using that tech to make animated stories and to move forward. And then so it doesn't. These things are all different. And then now it's something even different. So my guess is it's just dead.
Oh, gotcha.
And Bespin had a story about them doing some filming at Pinewood about it. That was some kind of development, we think. I'm guessing it was a big test kind of thing, and then it was just not feasible, not worth doing, or the results weren't there or something. I don't know. But yeah, Droid Story, man.
Yeah, what happened to it?
Hardly knew you.
Yeah, good.
Hardly knew you.
Hardly knew you. Which is while we're talking about all this movie stuff, and I see Bespin said, well, he'd likely turned in a script into last year after a couple of years of working on it, and now he's writing alone, struggling with the middle portion, like he's rewriting. That's probably true. And how much attention is he giving it? Who knows, right?
Well, we also don't know if he actually ever wrote anything with Christy Wilson. They might have had the deal and the pitch and all of that, but we don't even know if they ever even started together. Like, it's always a chance they never even did anything together, and that it was just him. And then she was like, "Well, I'm moving on to write Transformers 29 or something, 1918." whatever it is, you know.
Right. And the Sabersmith says, I'll believe it when I see it in the theater with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Matt Risman's great response. I think Droid Story is going to be a movie now. Speaking of that, look, Lando. So there's this.
Oh, she did. Okay. Bespin says she did say in September that she was working on it.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, I got to get caught up with the chat. So let me see. There we go. All right. So this other story came out yesterday. Jackson, Taika's new movie, Jackson Rabbit.
Jackson Rabbit.
Very good sketchcraft. Another fantastic. Lando. So in a podcast, a couple days ago, it says Pablo in the podcast, Pablo Torre finds out he was interviewing Stephen Glover and was asked about the Lando show. What's going on with the Lando show? And he says, well, you shouldn't have asked. I could pretty much be like, we're doing, well, it's not even a show. So nerds will find out anyway. They read my lips or something. The idea now, and this is, I think, key. The idea now is do a movie. It's the idea. It doesn't mean that it's been greenlit as a movie, as we were saying before. It doesn't mean that it's been budgeted as a movie. It doesn't mean anything. The idea now, as we're spitballing it, is it could be a movie. So we're thinking about that.
Well, yeah. What that means is don't hand us 8 scripts of a television series. You're going to hand us a film script. That's where, and obviously they can't write at the moment, but that's what the deal is set for, because like they get in advance on money and stuff like that, and I would have to imagine that it's a different advance for a film script composed as opposed to a television show.
Well, the other part of this sentence, he says, it's like telephone with all the information that's coming out.
Yeah.
And, when you play the telephone game, everybody knows what that means. Like there's things lost in translation.
No, that's not what it means. What it means, sorry, I mean, that sounded rude. No, what it means is they're not allowed to go make deals. They're not allowed to go and be like, all right, Kathy, we want $2 million and Donald does it right now. Like, it's not like that. Their agents aren't part of SAG and the WGA. The agents can wheel and deal all day. So they can be like, so the agents could be going to the studios right now and be going like, hey, you want so-and-so to be Lois Lane and Superman? Yeah, we'll do it. She'll do it. And she can't go sign. She can't go down there and like be like, okay, I'm Lois Lane. Let's talk. But the agent could go line every single thing up. They could do memo/intent deals all day that are fairly binding. And then once the strike's over, they just initial and boom, everything's going. So Hollywood is working during the strike. They're not. You're supposed to tell your agent. If anybody asks about me, I'm off the table. So they send that. They copy and paste that email that the WGA pre-writes for them. They send it to their agents, and then their agents go, "Shut up!" And then they go, and then they continue working. So as soon as the strike's over, you're just going to see like all of these. That's why you keep hearing about the casting of Lois Lane and Superman and Jimmy Olsen. Well, how? Well, that's how. And so what he's saying right there, he's making a joke that like, yeah, so maybe we could communicate with them about what we're doing and how we're going to do it that way. Bespin says it's mentioned in the article that Glover jokes about having information brokers because as a WG member, he can't work on the project to communicate to the studio about the project.
Well, I'm contractually prevented from reading all of Bespin's article unless he's on the show.
I mean, it would be better if he came on and read it. He has a British accent, so it would sound fancy. Okay.
I contractually have to skip the most interesting parts because he's not here.
I always said that Bespin Bulletin was a Star Wars mag with balls. Sorry. Kid show. I shouldn't say that. Hey, Meg could have showed up today, but she was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm eating crumpets and having tea, Governor." So whatever. USA.
Oh my goodness. So that's I think that's the gist of the news of the week.
But a Lando movie is that's a big change in the Lucasfilm boat on the anthology films compared to what they were when they were all, oh no, we messed up. now we need to go cry about it for 5 years, not do any of those movies, and I'm glad because like Kenobi is still like probably one of my favorite things that they've done. It has flaws. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's one of my favorite things that they've done on Disney Plus. But there's just no denying that the Kenobi that iteration of Kenobi as a film would have been better just because of the quality of the visuals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So on this Lando thing, I'm a little bit like, okay, that's good. And the other thing about the Lando thing, I think that's worth considering is look at Solo: A Star Wars Story, how they dealt with Lando. What's he doing? He's at a big table with a bunch of expensive aliens. You think Edward Scissorpunch or whatever his name is something you're going to get on Disney Plus with 50 other ones like that? I don't think so.
Yeah, there's so many things. I think with the Taika movie and with the Lando thing, people are like, and it's been in our chat here even, like, we'll believe it when we see it. We're not going to get too overworked about it until something comes of it. But I'll say, and I mentioned this earlier as well yesterday, that the budgets are really key to the success of these projects. If they can keep the budget in at least in line with its potential at the box office, and it still makes money and it gets good reviews. It has to be written well, has to be acted well. Folks, engage with the characters. I think Donald Glover has every opportunity to be a fan favorite character in Star Wars, but it's got to be well written, and the budget can't be, off the rails.
Well, sorry, Santa.
And then it can succeed, whether it's a Disney Plus movie, straight to Disney Plus, or if it's a theatrical release. The key about a theatrical release is they really can't afford to have another Solo narrative. Like, I think Solo was a fine movie, but it had a lot of issues to overcome, and it ended up losing money at the end of the day. There's lots of reasons for that, and we could talk about it all day long. But as long as they keep the budget in line with Lando, they deliver a good movie that audiences enjoy. Sure, go for it.
So the last 10 years ish of Lucasfilm, when Kathleen Kennedy took over as George Lucas left, I've said before, they had this realization. They had every 40-year-old white guy they were ever going to get. They had Star Wars had grown, the prequels had grown and brought it in at the same time. They lost a lot, they gained a lot, but it hit its growth capacity. There was nowhere to go. And so what do? Well, look at the Hunger Games. There's nerd women, there's a big market there. How are we going to get them? If we get them, that grows Star Wars. So there was a long time that I think that was sort of the tacit side agenda, was to get lady fans, women fans into Star Wars that was seen as a male dominated space. And then when you look at, like, in terms of that nerd style stuff and growing the audience, I think black audiences are something that they're like, you know what, we should try to get black audiences now. I think we could see that. It's a theory that I have. And I think Black Panther proved that black audiences are down to go watch nerd movies. If you make it for them, they will go. And they prove that it's there. And when we keep hearing about, like, the Lando's a movie thing now, the Jeff Snyder reports about who they were looking at as the two leads in the Rey film, both young black actors, or, like one guy was like 35 or something, and like a young black woman. Like, I think that they might be going for trying to start to foster a black audience after they probably hit the ceiling with women. What they've got is what they got.
Yeah.
And then so that might be where they're at now. So if we start seeing a lot of black heroes in Star Wars, then that might be kind of the tip off that's what this next, like, phase of trying to grow the audience is rooted in.
Yeah.
It's just a theory, though. Just a theory. It's not like a source thing or anything.
Well, and another element that comes into play is a younger audience, right? A younger audience as well. And Glover brings in, a cool factor. He brings in a younger audience, and also perhaps a black audience, and helps grow the franchise. But again, it's got to be really well written. It's got to be characters that the fans can associate with. And I think he's already established that with Lando in the Solo movie. So it's got the potential. But I just don't know how much energy there is. But if they can create a compelling story that people want to see, there's tons of Lando stories to tell, tons of them.
Yeah, okay, I think Solo was fine. Everything about Solo was fine, but there's actually absolutely nothing about Solo that is exceptional.
Right.
There's nothing about the idea or the script of Solo. Like that's when I look back at it when they fired the Lego guys for the quote Kasdan script. The Kasdan script was maybe one of the weakest Kasdan scripts we've ever had from a Lucasfilm project. It's no Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire, Jedi, Force Awakens. It's just not.
Right.
And so when you look at it that way, yeah, this angle that they have to have, it has to have some. There has to be something very, very good that you can sell. That's really hooky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to see that, and like until we know what it is. If it's just like, oh, Lando has to go on a Kessel Run to pay somebody back after, oh, this is how it gets Cloud City. Oh, cool. Why don't we have him go get his car loan next? I hope it's something a little bit more. I hope it's very inspired.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to put it together, right? So you end up with Solo, you get Lando. It's almost like it's setting up a trilogy, right? Solo, Lando, Kira, Solo, Lando, Maul, something like that. I think they could pull off an anthology trilogy, but they better be smart about it. And I'll wait to see.
My sense is that it will not be Solo 2 in the spiritual successor. My guess is that Donald Glover and his brother are going to sit down. They're not going to be like, okay, how do we make like that would be a corporate agenda. Oh God, how do we make this egg on her face look less embarrassing? Glover doesn't care about that. He's not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to, what's this quote? I just want to eat oranges in the sun or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not eating oranges in the sun. That's fixing Disney's problems. I don't think he has any, I don't think he cares about Disney's problems.
I think there is interest in the Maul side of it. So at the end of Solo, the one thing
with Glover though is the question. Glover,
but at the end of Solo, you mentioned, I don't know there's anything, the big hook in Solo was the end. Where Maul shows up, and you're like, whoa, there's Maul. And a lot of people had no idea Maul was still alive. And I had people contact me and say, wait, Brian, I'm confused. Like, isn't that dude dead? When did this movie happen? Did it happen before he died? Like, I don't understand where this fits in because he's cut in half and he's dead. Like, no, he comes back to life and blah, blah, blah. You have to explain to him. But that's the thing. I think fans love the character of Maul. They would love to see Maul's character in something else. And if this movie could link the three right together, Solo with the ending with Maul, Lando has some compelling thing with Black Sun or whatever that is. Black. That's not right. I'm saying something wrong.
Crimson Dawn?
Crimson Dawn. I'm like, wait, I'm saying something wrong. Crimson Dawn. Black Sun was the predecessor to Crimson Dawn. So Crimson Dawn, then if it had some tie into that, and we follow it with a Maul movie, then I think that could get people excited. But could they or would they? I think you are probably right that they wouldn't. And then try to bring in Billy D as old man retelling stories from his past or something.
Yeah, the current generation of writers hates that trope. They never.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. So I don't know how they're gonna sell it. Great discussion. And I see you all in the chat. You're way off topic. I'm not highlighting your chats because you're off topic. I'm glad you guys are having fun. And I'm glad you're interacting. It's great for the channel because they see audience and great engagement is quite high. I'm not putting that on my channel. You guys keep it in the chat.
Thanks, Santa.
It's all good. Look, they got distracted with the.
It's my birthday. Give me some cake.
Yeah. They got distracted with cake and Bespin's getting the crumbs that you let filter through the floorboards, and he's excited about the opportunity to to eat cake tonight, and I'm not.
Want me to stop it? All right. That scares him. That scares him.
You cake. That's what
he goes when I do that. So he's fine. He'll leave you alone now. Fire! You know,
Bespin, he sent the chat in a place. Well, we were picking on you, so you know you had that. We'll give you the leeway there, Bespin. Says, come down here and do that. Go ahead.
Oh, you.
Ahsoka. Let's shift gears a little bit. Okay. Ahsoka, chapter 5. That was this last week. Fantastic episode. Some people are now, as we get ready for chapter 6, and Meg kind of teased it today. There's some exciting. You won't leave this basement alive, mate.
Yeah. I just take bug spray and I spray it into a crack in the wall, then it knocks them out. So take a nap today. Take a little nap. Wake up with a headache.
Look, this chapter 4 has been fantastic. You've talked about it on your show. I've talked about it on my show, or chapter 5. Absolutely great episode. I think it's great for the fandom because there's still things that we're talking about coming out of that episode. What was that world between worlds? What was Anakin? Who was Anakin? Is it? And all of these questions are fantastic, right? I think it's good for the fandom, the speculation. And like some other content creators, I agree. I hope that they don't give us definitive answers to every question that folks are asking. Like, how does this work and that work? And where exactly was this? And how was this? I hope they leave it open. It's better for speculation. It's better for fan engagement. And let it ride. Let it ride. People can talk about it for a decade. That's great. Go for it. But as we start to look forward to chapter 6, right? There's some questions that I have for the rest of the season. We've only got 3 episodes left. We haven't seen Thrawn yet. By all accounts, Thrawn's in these last 3 episodes, all 3 of them. But that's a short amount of time to get a spin with the new big bad of the franchise.
It's a movie's worth of length of content.
Well,
if it was just a film coming out, all of it would have been in the 1 hour, 2 hour movie. We have about an hour and a half. I think with all the exposition of how we get to them, I think there's enough time.
Well, and we've heard that it demands another season, right? Ahsoka, the way this season ends practically demands.
Are we in spoiler town?
Let me go ahead and put that up and announce it in like.
Oh, you just took a turn to spoiler town. You don't belong here.
Well, we will let it go into spoiler town now, right? Trucker Mark. It says the number one reason I love Star Wars, keeping the same actors in their characters to continue the story. Well, it's tough with some of the older actors.
When you want
to go back to the original trilogy characters, we're in a space now that makes it really difficult to do that, right? So how can you continue those stories without those actors?
Yeah,
but it's a fair point, Trucker Mark. But
I like it when they do that too, though. When you see when you see Hayden on screen, you have like that cinematic continuity between the prequel films and this and Kenobi and everything like that. It does help connect, because I mean, like, these things are made years apart. They feel different. Like, things made in 2024 are never gonna feel like something made in 1977, no matter what. But just having that little piece of that humanity that goes through it does connect it in a way that I think it helps.
Stephen Murphy. Most people are now saying they want a live action Clone Wars show. And it's tough. Like, you got to get away from this short time frame that exists in a box. You really do. And some of the strongest arguments are saying, let Star Wars go to this Peridia, right? Let it go to Peridia, another galaxy. Let it go beyond the sequel trilogy.
I keep tripping on that though, because people act like when we get to Peridia though, like it's going to be something we never seen before. Like it's still going to feel like it's just a new Star Wars planet when you get down to it, because of the limitations of just creativity in general. I think I don't. I expect
Jason.
Yeah, but it is what it is. That I told them what they were saying it was, and that's what it was. I'm like, they're going to a new galaxy, and they did. They are. They did go. You saw them go. So, but I mean, like, you know, I mean, just my sense is when we get there, it's just going to look like a different Star Wars planet, and it's not going to be like, oh, this is like a whole like new thing. But in terms of the story, it is, you know. Yeah, Stranger looks a lot like California, probably.
But and there's some speculation I want to get to here in a minute.
Anakin. Just to wrap that up, that's why I wanted to ask about Spoiler Town. Are we in Spoiler Town? Well, the whole question is, was that really Anakin or not? Well, we know that when the ghost shows up and gives her the "I'm Anakin" smile, well, that right there says yeah. But that means he is a part of that. But at the same time, do you think Anakin's walking around like in the afterlife becoming Darth Vader all the time? And like, you know what I mean? And like there's that moment when he's referencing Luke Skywalker. She's like, I won't fight. And it's like, I've heard that before. There's like contempt in it. And so it's a bit more mystical than it just straight up being Anakin. But the fact that we do have Anakin's Force Ghost appearing to her in the back end of the series says, yeah, that it does.
I think that it's more complicated than just like you said, than a straight up.
It's not logical. It's story logic. It's mystical story logic.
Well, there's other little inconsistencies that happen through that entire sequence right now that people really aren't focused on. One of them that I pointed out as I was watching it and rewatching it is towards the end of that whole War Between Worlds sequence, and Anakin comes back. He's got the red saber and he's fighting with Ahsoka, right? He ends up kind of twisting her lightsaber out of her hand and it goes flying off. Then a couple scenes later, it's that saber's dangling on her belt. Right. So how did that happen? Like that saber went flying off. She didn't go get it. It went. And she didn't retrieve it. How's it hanging on her belt all of a sudden? Right. So there's things like that through that sequence that people aren't really focused on because they're still engaged with the story as a whole. But if you start to look at some of these inconsistencies,
KG has the answer. Magnets.
That it's not as straightforward as that was real. It's not. There's some forces.
Yeah, and it's just like how Mortis and that. Like if you're still asking if that's real after all this time, it's the same guy. I would imagine you'll get the same amount kind of answer about it. You know, but it was in like the Mortis thing that you have a shared experience. In this one, there's no shared experience for Ahsoka with anyone else but herself. So at the end of the day, it almost doesn't matter if it was real or if it wasn't. It's right because it's just her experience on the thing, and you know,
I do like that it's unclear, and I hope they leave it that way. I really do.
Sorry,
no. Episode 6. I saw a question come by a little bit earlier about the whole story arc. There it is. Ducky asked, "You think we're going to get a boring Hera diplomacy episode 6, or abandon that plot point and follow Ahsoka? Do you think?" And this is actually a really good question. Ahsoka is the interest, right? She's in the belly of the whale. They're going to Peridia. We have a lot of Thrawn stuff to unfold. Where does the story go with
back
Hera?
up there? Do we have a lot of Thrawn stuff to unfold? Is everything about Thrawn that is going to happen? Is it simply Thrawn? Daddy's coming home? Is that all that there is to this?
No, because we've got the whole.
Do we have? I mean, we know there's going to be conflict, but is there anything for? I'm saying for Thrawn himself. Are we going to learn anything else? Because my sense is it's going to be a bit non-committal, considering that there's a film coming, and
well,
that
in
it's
season 2.
Yeah, season 2 and a film and then the season 2 stuff. It's like, it sounds like, by the sounds of things, one of the heroes doesn't make it back, but we have the sense that Ezra does make it back. So that really theoretically only leaves Sabine or Ahsoka or Carson Teva. I'm kidding, but it's going to be Sabine or Ahsoka. One of them will stay, and I still don't think it makes sense that it's Sabine, but I suppose it could. I mean, it's possible. She's a candidate for it, but seems less likely to me.
Yeah, look, there's some things with Ezra, and some of the story you told about he's not using his lightsaber. He doesn't have it.
Yeah, to the best of my I'm not saying he never uses it. I'm not saying she never hands it back to him and he uses it. But when I was hearing about some larger action moments that happened on the back end of the show, he didn't seem to have one, and she had it, and that's why I was like, yeah, it's weird. She's using the lightsaber and he's not. And then like the source is like, yeah, it's like using like force karate, basically,
right,
like force pushing people and that stuff.
Right. So we have all of those things to look forward to. And so because we understand Ezra and Thrawn may be kind of chasing after Ezra. Ezra's running, hiding. There's something going on out there. The Night Sisters and these reanimated troopers with the Night Sister magic or Light Sister magic, whatever they are, right? All of that's coming. There's a lot of things in Peridia. Let me put it that way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff going on in Peridia that we're expecting to happen. Are we going to follow back up with Hera in the New Republic and her commissioning as a general?
My sense would be, if the Republic shows up on the back end of the show, for instance, to save the day, or if she shows up with Zeb or something like that, for instance, that kind of thing, then we would cut back to remind us that that's still happening. But I'm not expecting there to be too much unless we have a scene where she gets fired, unless she gets let go, which I think would make a lot of sense. I think it would dramatically make sense to remove Hera as a general, to strip her of rank, and then Thrawn comes back, and then they're like, oh, oops. And then she's back to doing her rebel stuff of, I'm doing this on my own, even though they're going to come to the realization, and then they'll probably try to get her back in at that point. But yeah, but we could already see that she does that. The character where they've set it up is a bit stupid, and it doesn't really work. And you cannot leave her as a general in the Republic with a kid and all this stuff. Like, none of it makes so obviously the kid will probably go off to be a Padawan, and then that will solve some of that. But right now it doesn't make sense. It looks weird, doesn't play that well. So I would imagine that this is a liminal space for the character right now, like where she's at. And what do we have on the table? Her getting fired is what's on the table. Her getting stripped of rank, I would think. That's just speculation, though.
I suspect we're not going to see much of that storyline.
Yeah.
We may get a little bit in the finale, but I don't know. Bespin sent me a picture of himself, what he's doing right now.
Oh, yeah?
He sent me a picture. He says, I'm way too busy to come on your show today. And then he sent me a picture. I got to share it here. Hold on 1 second. Here's a picture of Bespin right now. He's just...
There he is. Yeah.
There you go. He can't join the show. He's busy. He's far too busy.
Just busy being lazy, eating cake.
That's fantastic. Oh no! There's an update. He sent an update. Best.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sent an update.
I get it.
Bespin. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now we've got all that in our head today. Um, yeah, so I don't know we're going to get back to Hera's storyline in this season. Perhaps at the very end, we'll get just a little bit.
We did have a goodbye scene with her. So they could not. I think they will go back to her at some point. I think they will, but I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be an episode. I don't think we're gonna have the episode where it's like, oh, and now we got to deal with Republic business.
Yeah,
So because we do have to get the bad guys meeting Thrawn. We have to get the good guys meeting Ezra. We have to kind of like get a little bit of backstory about what's been going on, bud. What have you been doing this whole time?
Exactly.
I don't know what that is. I'm just going to guess Force Karate, but
we may see a little thing at the end that she's been decommissioned and she's
and then Thrawn comes back and then obviously recommissioned in some way, whether officially or unofficially.
Yeah,
and the Hera character might be more beneficial to Star Wars if she's not actually in the formal military, if she is just out there doing heroic rebel stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you get down to it.
Matt Risman brings up a point. Meg reported on it some time ago, and there was a thing from that Reddit leaker who said that C-3PO it was going to be in episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense if 3PO is in 7, if it's true. I don't know.
Well, everything and that person hasn't had any like, oh god, that was just so off or wrong or whatever. So I would imagine if they say 3PO's in 7, he's in 7.
I would think so.
And we did, and they did tease the General Organa or the Senator Organa moment already, which would probably connect to that.
The elves have been sending North Pole leaks to Bespin.
Mm-hmm.
Bespin, he has sources. Mm-hmm. He has sources all over the world, and apparently, I didn't know this till just now. But he's got sources at the North Pole.
Oh,
and I'm going to have to find out who's been leaking information to Bespin.
Look at you go, man. Look at you go. There's going to
be an investigation. I have to get to the bottom of it because it's unacceptable. I'm going to have a meeting with the elves. So we'll not be sending any more information to Bespin. Like, Lucasfilm's got their own trouble.
So, you got the spy shots.
He does. So the guy's not been wrong, right? He's not been wrong. So
I would. Would be weird if then all of a sudden 3PO's not in. I would bet on 3PO being in based off that.
If he is, then maybe we'll get New Republic stuff then. And Matt may be right about that. But there's another thing I've been curious about, and I brought it up the other day, and it goes way back to March of 2023. There's an article on makingstarwars.net about Ahsoka bringing the wolf to live action. And in this article from March, right, a while ago, you reported about Ahsoka in this big white wolf. So the question, and here's the concept art or whatever, right, of Ahsoka riding this big white wolf is, when is this going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
If we get a little action in episode 7, going back to the New Republic or whatever, how are we going to get Ahsoka? This correct, man. Not the wolf. This is an owl. This would be the wolf right here. That's
Dave Filoni drew that.
It's hilarious. But if
why do they put showgirls on the bottom? Oh, puppy chow. That's why.
If this is going to show when we've got 3 episodes left, Ahsoka is going to Peridia. Are lost wolves in Peridia? Because lost wolves get their name for being on Lothal. Lost cats. Lost wolves.
So like my thing is on I don't know if it was that article or the other one, but basically like they were using like live animals like horses and Ahsoka was riding on the back of it, and then it was going to be transformed into the wolf. And so, yeah, where does that fit? I mean, like this, I speculate. I'm like, well, maybe Thrawn, maybe the last action sequence of the show is Thrawn going back to Lothal and bombing it, just to be like, hey, oh, you guys got me. Oh, I'm gonna get you. Oh, I lost the fight there. Oh well, I'm back. And so I could kind of see that maybe happening, and maybe at a moment in that Ahsoka is riding the wolf there. But then how does she end up lost again? If she is the one who's lost, that's where I'd be. Well, that would, if that is what happens, that might make Sabine the better candidate for the one who's lost. But in that layout, in that project layout,
I've got 2 theories.
Come on, sources, tell us now.
We must know.
Aggressive negotiations then.
Aggressive negotiations. Or you can contact Bespin. He'll give you cake.
No, don't. No, me, not him.
I'm just saying.
Tired of him. Tired of being his friend and me. Oh, did I say that loud?
So I've got 2 theories.
Yeah.
One, the shots were done with some markers on the animal she was riding.
It's a horsey.
A horse, right?
A horsey.
Maybe it's not a lost wolf, right? Like there was,
but the source literally said it was a wolf.
I know. I'm just trying to make up. Like sometimes sources get confused.
It could be an Orback. I mean, or something like the equivalent of course. Of course, a horse is a horse. Of course.
The scene and the everything that was described sounded like a lost wolf, and that's what the source reported. And
I don't think sources though go deep Star Wars Rebels lore. That's not how sources are. At least not mine. Mine aren't Star Wars nerds. They're people in film production. You know what I mean? No, so I don't know, man. Let's wait. I got this confirmed twice. Okay, I know that this, and there was one of them said, yeah, they even had reference photos of the doggies. So I don't know. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I mean, if it ends up being different, ends up being different. But I know, like I said, they use real horses. They have the company out there that has the little horses in there. Ahsoka rides it. I said she was Ahsoka the White when she does it. The Ahsoka the White thing has now happened.
Yeah.
And
and here's Bespin doubling down on it, right? Mm-hmm. Bespin saying he heard that she rides a wolf into battle. So okay, so
the clone trooper or the animal? What?
Why?
Let's see clarification. That's part of the job. That's something we gotta cross our T's, dot our I's here, Santa.
Jason.
Right. Silence.
If she's on a lost wolf, then lost wolves we have seen before can traverse distances through a portal almost, right? In Rebels, they took Ezra through the whole planet in nothing.
Yeah.
It was like they went through a magic portal. The other thing is, if it's actually a forced manifestation of Kanan Jarrus,
mm-hmm.
which we have seen him as a giant lost wolf in Rebels, giant.
Yeah, I was tipped off that was the thing, but I never could get an explanation. Just to clarify a little bit. How they do this thing where they're but then they don't say anything. You're like,
yeah. If it's Kanan Jarrus as a physical manifestation of a lost wolf, but a force being of some sort, it's very possible Kanan Jarrus
mm-hmm.
could be the Lost Wolf she's riding into battle.
Oh, and then Hera finds out that she's been riding her man. Oh, they're gonna have a cat fight in this show.
As soon as I said it, I said, Brian, you should have avoided that one, but nope.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my where my head's been is maybe this thing is from some mystical way. You know what I mean? There's something mystical about how that happens. I can't remember if there was any reason that any of the wolves would have been, Thrawn was like, get me a wolf from my personal collection so it can conveniently be used in this later episode. I don't think that happened, so I can't explain it.
Yeah,
it's a hard one.
I really question. I really question. Like, we had this leak from a long time ago.
Yeah,
Bespin's doubling down on it. You've had multiple sources report it, and it's in my head.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh wait,
and in the sequences that I wrote about, they are action-based sequences. It's not like the horsey walks up and she goes, "Oh, hello, friend," and puts her head in. I have missed you. It's not like something like that. It's like she's like literally doing action on it. There are stunts involved with horses that are standing in for these creatures. So
yeah. So we have that. So 6, 7, and 8. We're expecting to be in Peridia, at least some portion of all 3 of those episodes. And I'm anxious for when we're going to see the Lost Wolves or whatever, and be able to break that down. So I want to bring that up. I saw Quentin brought up this deal about Ahsoka the White. Quentin is saying he doesn't think it is Quentin the White. She just changed clothes. It's nothing.
No,
Ahsoka the White.
It is.
Came back.
Well, the sources literally were saying that, like in these episodes, she's Ahsoka the White, and that she's on the wolf, and she did, but she went through literally the physical manifestation of or the metaphysical manifestation, and now she's gone into the belly of the whale. And when she comes out on the other side for the rest of the galaxy to encounter her, she will be Ahsoka the White. That's what the belly of the whale is always transformation when you come out on the other side of it.
I believe
like an Empire Strikes Back, they come out of it, then they end up going in to get frozen in carbonite. Like there's these things that kind of like things that could happen. Like it doesn't mean you step out necessarily right there. It doesn't have to be that way, I'm guessing, based off of Empire anyways. But in this case right here, she does come back out. She's smiling. She's a personality transplant. If you watch it, when you watch the episode again, this is what it is. And like I said, the sources literally said that. I didn't just come to that based off of she's wearing a white outfit now. So the people making it were under that impression.
Yeah, I'm under the
saying it's saying that's what happened. I mean,
you see a whole disposition change in her. And I thought they did a really good job as she's waking up. The light coming in illuminates her. She looks like she's transforming in front of our face, right? Like the white brightens, or her essence seems to glow. The sun comes in. They did a brilliant job with all of that. And then, of course, the outward appearance through the changing of the cloak, and then she changes
like Renton in Train Spotting. She chose life.
Well,
right?
She's got the new armor on that's all white. Everything's white. I believe it is. The only thing missing is that big staff, and maybe she finds it in Peridia. Maybe it's something else, or maybe it's just not part of the story anymore. I don't know. And everybody gets kind of caught up on, and Meg even talked about a little bit this week, where that scene in Rebels hasn't happened yet. It's still gonna happen. The scene that we saw wasn't that, but they literally said it was shot for shot to be the same. And so people are still holding out.
I mean, the skyline of Lothal is different too.
Yeah. So they're picking up on little things. I think that's
here's the out. Here's what they're gonna say. I don't have anything on this, but I know I'm right. I'm gonna have that thing where I'm like, I know I'm right. The end of Star Wars Rebels is narrated by Sabine. So if you want to read into it, that's what Sabine's narration looks like. But this is what it looks like when it happened. This is what happened in Star Wars now. This is how it happened.
And I think they've been kind of leaning in that direction a little bit for a while. And I've been mentioning it over and over. And people don't like it. You didn't like it. Where, look, it's the same. I use this analogy. If I give you a coloring book and say color page 12, and I color page 12, the coloring on the page might look different between what you color and what I color. It's still the same scene. It's got different colors and it's got different techniques used in how you color it. Maybe you use watercolors, or maybe you use markers or pens, and maybe I use crayons, whatever. But it's still the same scene. It's still the same picture. We just colored it differently. And what Star Wars has been doing, and some of the people are kind of grumpy about, is that if you read in a book that this happened this way, or you'll see in a comic that it happened this way, there might be some differences. We see in the cartoon that a scene happened a certain way, and then you see it in real life and it happens a little bit different way. Or you see it in one cartoon one way and a different cartoon another way.
Last Jedi, what Kylo saw, what Luke saw.
Yeah, it's all the same scene.
Rashomon effect.
It's just people are coloring it different. It's being told from different perspective, different artists.
Yeah.
But it's still, at the end of the day, the same scene. Even though some of the details are different. And I think that's what they've been doing, and that's what they're allowing to happen. It's the story that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We act like we're watching a documentary, and that
it's history.
Right.
Oh, with Kathleen Kennedy, it's her story.
But this is fantasy, and it's galaxy far away, and it's different artists telling the same story with their own artistic flair to it. Yeah. So whether Dave Filoni showed it a certain way in animation and then showed it a different way in live action, same artist, but he used a different medium, he told a little bit different. That's it. That's how I see it. So what's Quentin say? Someone brought up the scene in Mando. We see the whales. Oh, this is Meg also covered this in Mandalorian, when you see Grogu looking through there in hyperspace, and you see the Purgle on the other side of the veil, and it's kind of going there, that it could be the same whale that Ahsoka is in, because these timelines run parallel, and it could be just a little like, hey, that's the Purgle that's taken Ahsoka to Peridia at the same time you guys are on your little journey. Could be, maybe not.
Yeah.
Ducky says, "Thank heavens." So the sequel trilogy is just someone who sucked at coloring. I didn't say that. But maybe the story was told maybe wasn't the same way somebody else would tell it, but it's still the same story, right? So, anything else as we get ready for Chapter 6 to come up that you think is important to kind of keep in your mind?
No. I mean, I just think it's gonna be exciting because we're gonna get to the new place. So
I do too.
And then that's when we'll start to see like I think the next episode should be the reunions, and I would think. And then the question would be, do we have the good guys and the bad guys, or did we just get the bad guys this episode? Good guys the next one? I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's supposed to run over 46 minutes, something like that.
It's a lot of
one time.
Yeah, it's good. It's good length.
It is good length.
What you said.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. So I'm going to take the spoiler warning thing down, because we got a Mike Porter dad joke, and I want to share something else with the channel. Not only do we have lots of stuff on Patreon where you can submit questions, you can find other content. We've got all kinds of content there that's not available anywhere else. So if you're looking for some Star Wars content, especially like after Ahsoka ends, we go through some of the novels together. I'll be picking a new one to go through right after Ahsoka finishes. We'll be posting those. But we also have merch. And you notice this season leaderboard running up here.
Mm-hmm.
Folks at the end of the season who have been doing the predictions game will be able to pick some Star Wars Santa merch. I buy it, I ship it. We have a merch store. The link is in the description. But as you can see, we've got like polo shirts, and you can pick colors, right? Like there's different logos available. If you like this logo, or you like the one that has the Santa on it, right?
Yeah.
You can pick whichever logo you prefer. That's stitched. So there's that. We've got these kind of bottles. I've got them here.
Mm-hmm.
We've got these things. We've got mugs, travel mugs, water bottles. There's a patch if you're a patch kind of person. And somebody the other day couldn't find the hoodies, the sweatshirts. And here they are. You can get black.
What are you, dumb or something? Sorry.
Red, gray. You can pick the color you like.
That's cool.
T-shirts, stickers, jackets, hats. Right, the hats all come. They're stitched, and you can get different things there. So the merch store, that's where you can get some things. And if you win on the leaderboard, I buy the merch and I ship it to you. So you've got
cool.
That. There's another
on my show, we're doing a similar thing where you get nothing. You win nothing. There's nothing to get. But Santa, he's very giving because he's Santa Claus. So.
I am. So there's another thing I wanted to talk about today, but I reached out to a friend of the channel. They've got a pretty big thing getting ready to happen, and today's a big day for them. Remember back some time ago, about the time of Celebration, there was an event going on right after Celebration, big time event. We had some people on promoting the event. We had a filmmaker. And we had a member of the band Ash, Mark Hamilton. He's the bass player for Ash. And we had a person involved with Celebration.
Mark the Funk Truck Hamilton, I believe is his full name.
Truck. The exciting thing is Ash has a new album releasing. It's called Race the Night. And there are some really, really good tracks on here. And look, I didn't know about Ash before I met Mark Hamilton, and he came on my show. It's a legit deal.
Yeah.
These guys are
nice
they've had number one hits on the on European Billboard. They've done extremely well, and this new album is releasing today. The friend of the channel, he came on to talk about the thing going on at Celebration. I thought it would be nice just to mention, since this happened, and he's a friend of the channel, that they've got a new album out, and they're doing all kinds of promotional tours and stuff like that over in Europe right now. And so he's a great guy, really. If you guys
are a funk truck, I told you he's a funk truck.
If you guys are into it, look up the album. Race Night, Ash. Today's a big day for them.
They got a good video too for one of the songs that.
Yeah, they've got several.
I don't know what we're not allowed to say or whatever, so I don't want to say the wrong.
Yeah,
thing,
me neither. But I know one of the videos, and it came out some time ago, or I got a preview of it some time ago. One of the videos was done by the film director who came in to promote the event at Celebration.
Nice.
He's known for doing horror movies. He directed.
It's a funny video. It's really
music
good.
videos. It's done quite well. Dale asked, when are they coming to the U.S. again? I don't know, Dale. They did a U.S. tour years ago, but I don't know that they have it scheduled now. So there you go. Look for Ash. And if you're in Europe, you may know them more. But
in fact, most people don't know the band's actually called Ashley. That's just like for people say it for short. Mark Hamilton is Ashley.
He's Ashley.
He's Ashley.
So we have a Mike Porter dad joke. And this is a fantastic one, considering what's been in the chat today.
Mm-hmm.
That daggone Bespin, leading everybody astray with cake. Said, what did Anakin say when he tasted a cake that wasn't very sweet?
What did he say?
He said, "You lack confection."
Nah. Wait, did he write that during the show?
No, he wrote it. He wrote it. I got that message. Like,
we live in the Matrix.
I got
official.
Up this morning.
We do live in the Matrix.
He sent me the message at 8:23 a.m. So, it was perfect. It's absolutely perfect. He didn't. How were we to know that he was going to tell a cake joke today?
Mike Porter just came in and said the chat was his openers. He's like, all right, copies for closers, boom, cakes for closers.
Ashley Eckstein Hamilton. Mark wishes. Mark wishes. I'll tell you that. No, he's got a beautiful girlfriend. All right, Jason. Thanks for hanging out today.
Of course, man. I'm glad my computer worked for the show. Can you believe it?
You got a new one on the way?
I'm not turning it off, though, until the next one comes. I'm just leaving it like this and see what happens.
Appreciate it, Jason. Hey, have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, dude.
I appreciate it. And you guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I can't wait for Ahsoka episode 6 next week. And you guys have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
All right. Until next time, my friends. Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.